We live in a world where pretty much everything we do leaves some kind of digital trace. But how do investigators take those little whispers of data and turn them into the loud, clear evidence that actually solves a crime? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the science of digital forensics. Get this, it sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But it's absolutely true. One of the most infamous serial killers in American history, a guy who dodged the police for decades, was finally brought down because of a single old-school floppy disk. So that's the big question, isn't it? How does that even happen? How does an investigator grab a piece of data, a file, maybe a search query, an email, and turn it into a smoking gun? Let's follow the clues. To really understand the power of digital evidence, we have to start with the case that proves just how much a tiny bit of data can reveal. So, for 30 years, the Bind, Torture, Kill, or BTK strangler, had Wichita, Kansas, living in fear. He even sent taunting letters to the media, building up this myth that he was just untouchable. But then, in 2005, he made a huge, fatal mistake. He sent that floppy disk to a TV station. Investigators dug into it and found metadata in a deleted Word document, little digital breadcrumbs that pointed to Christ Lutheran Church and a user named Dennis. That one clue, it led them straight to Dennis Rader, who happened to be the president of his church council. His one digital slip-up ended his entire reign of terror. The BTK case was a landmark, for sure, but it was also a sign of what was coming. See, today, the digital world isn't just a part of some investigations, it's a part of pretty much all of them. This quote just nails it. It perfectly captures the new reality for law enforcement. Crime now has a digital dimension. It doesn't matter if it's white-collar fraud or a violent crime, bad guys are using technology, and when they do, they leave a whole new kind of trail behind. And this isn't just some abstract idea. You can see it play out in major cases all the time. In terrorism, Ramzi Yousef's laptop literally held the plans for the first World Trade Center bombing. For financial fraud, think about Enron. They shredded tons of paper, but investigators pieced the whole case together from emails and digital files that stuck around. In violent crime, Robert Dole's web searches for things like kill plus spouse became key evidence of premeditation. And then in organized crime, it got to a whole other level when hackers hit the retail giant TJX. Over 2 years, they stole over 90 million credit and debit card numbers. Think about that. It was one of the biggest robberies of its time, and it was all done through computer networks. The only way to crack that case was to follow the digital trail. So how do investigators actually do this? I mean, it's not just about snooping around on a computer. It's a serious, rigorous scientific discipline. And this is that discipline, digital forensics. The goal isn't just to find some data. It's to find it, preserve it, and analyze it so carefully, so meticulously, that it can be presented as undeniable fact in a court of law. At its heart, digital forensics runs on the exact same principle as all other forensic science. It's called Locard's exchange principle. And put simply, it just means every contact leaves a trace. In the physical world, that's a fingerprint or a strand of hair. In the digital world, an attacker leaves traces in file systems, in system logs, in network records. They literally can't do anything without leaving a digital footprint. Now, to make sure those digital traces can actually be used in court, investigators have to follow these strict rules for forensic soundness. First, you preserve the original evidence. You change it as little as humanly possible. Second, and this is so crucial, you document every single thing you do. And third, you maintain a strict, unbroken chain of custody. And this right here? This is what that chain of custody looks like in the real world. This form answers every question a defense attorney could possibly ask. Who had the evidence? When did they have it? Where was it? And what did they do with it? Without this perfect, unbroken chain, that crucial piece of evidence could get thrown right out of court. But how can you prove a file hasn't been touched? Well, investigators use something called a message digest. You can just think of it as a digital fingerprint. They use a special algorithm, like one called MD5, to generate a unique code based on the exact data in that file. It's its own unique digital signature. The best way to think about it is like this black box, right? You feed any file, a document, a photo, even an entire hard drive into this algorithm. It does its thing, runs all its calculations, and then out the other side pops a totally unique fixed-length code. An exact copy of that file will always produce the exact same code. But if even one tiny bit of data is different,
the output will be completely different. I mean, look at this. The only difference between these two lines is one single letter. The H in John becomes an A in Joan. But the MD5 output, that digital fingerprint, is radically different. This is how an examiner can stand up in court and prove with mathematical certainty that the evidence they're showing is identical to the evidence they collected.
So, with these principles and these tools in hand, where do investigators actually go looking for this evidence? Well, the truth is, the cyber trail is pretty much everywhere. First, you've got your open computer systems. These are the obvious places, right? The laptops, desktops, and servers we use every single day. And with all the storage space they have, they can be absolute gold mines for evidence. Second, there are communication systems. This is the evidence that's on the move, all the data flying across the internet through phone networks and in our emails and text messages. These systems keep logs and records of who talked to whom and when. And third, and this is where it starts to get really fascinating, are the embedded computer systems. These are the hidden computers that are all around us. Your smartphone is a big one, obviously, but so is the navigation system in your car, which is logging everywhere you've been. Even a smart microwave could be a source. I'm not kidding. In one arson case, data from a microwave showed it was programmed to start a fire at a very specific time. So when you put all of these sources together, from our laptops to our cars to our kitchen appliances, a really clear and maybe kind of startling picture starts to emerge. This quote just sums it all up perfectly. Our devices have become behavioral archives. They hold a record of our activities, our interests, and our conversations that is more detailed and more honest than what we might share with anyone, even our closest friends. It's like we're all leaving behind this digital ghost of our lives. And that really leaves us with one final crucial question to think about. Every click, every search, every message we send adds another line to this story. For investigators, that's a trail of evidence. But for the rest of us, it's a permanent record of our lives. So what story does your digital ghost tell?